Are you ready, boys?
Howard Stern, Bruce Springsteen, and SiriusXM present Two Legends, 2 hours, a special free viewing.
I don't think any Bruce Springsteen fan has ever seen Bruce or the E Street Band in this type of casual, loose arrangement.
From Howard Stern, critically acclaimed as the best interviewer of our time.
I'm pretty sure it's the new highlight of my career.
From Bruce Springsteen, 20-time Grammy winner.
He shows up the night before, does a 2.5-hour sound check, let our guys make the thing perfect.
From SiriusXM, where you can stream every Howard interview on the SiriusXM app, hear Howard's 2 channels, and Bruce Springsteen's E Street Radio.
It was awesome to hear, but it was awesome to see. 13 songs. It doesn't get better than that.
The Howard Stern Interview. Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band.
Chuck Berry.
Loving it, man.
Isn't that good?
That is one of my favorite Chuck Berry songs, man. Nadine. Thrown on the corner, I turned and doubled back. I saw her stepping into a coffee-colored Cadillac. I painted my Cadillac coffee because of this song.
How do you remember lyrics the way you do? Do you have like an endless library in your head of lyrics?
No, man. I will tell you straight out, I cannot remember at this point any of my own lyrics. And I have a little help when I go on stage, but I can't remember them anymore. I mean, when I was a kid, I did. And then I got up on stage one night in Detroit when it was like first show. First song's going to be Born to Run, right? I think I know that one.
Yeah,
right?
You should.
Right.
But
I'm backstage and I'm not sure. So I start playing it on my little tape player over and over again. Biggest mistake in my life. I go out on stage, 20,000 people, Joe Louis Arena, 1, 2, 3, 4. So good so far. Right. And then it comes time for me and I can't think of a damn word to the song. I can't think of one word. So I'm standing there, and I look over at Steve, and Steve is like, his jaw is dropped. Everybody is in deep fear. And I'm thinking, all right, I'm just going to stop and sing another song. But I realized not only can I not remember the words of Born to Run, I can't remember the words at that moment to any song I've ever written.
What do you attribute that to? I mean, here you are. I mean, you're a guy who's been playing almost your whole life in bands and everything. What is it, stage fright? Or?
Yeah, I psyched myself out,
Wow.
And so I'm about to stop the show and say, folks, I'm having a nervous breakdown. I'll be back in 10 minutes. And then out of the crowd, I hear, in the day the crowd started to sing it. And it reminded me of the lyrics. I was fine the rest of the night.
Don't you think that in a way, if you had your druthers, I know you love live performing, and what's so weird about you is you do it all so well. You do the live performing, but the songwriting, be able to write all these songs, this endless catalog of songs. If you had your druthers, do you think just sitting in a room, writing songs, never having to go out and perform them, would you have preferred that?
That's pure torture.
Oh, it is? Why
Yeah.
is that torture? Because
writing is really hard.
it's difficult.
And you're failing 90% of the time. You're writing either stuff that's mediocre or worse. And so as I've gotten older, the only good thing is I've learned to recognize what's mediocre and worse sooner. But otherwise, I mean, I've gone for 2 years without writing a song and then written an entire album in 3 weeks.
Explain that to me. So, like, you don't wake up on any given day and hear some sort of tune in your head. Like today, you didn't wake up and say, man, I kind of got this thing going around. Nothing. There's nothing there.
No.
I can't believe it.
I don't know if I've ever done that. I think the only time I ever did that was I woke up in the middle of the night and wrote a song called Surprise, Surprise. It was on a record called Working on a Dream. And it was the only song I've actually dreamt and then got up and written, But I'm not sure it counts, So, but no, songwriting. I've gone 2 years without writing a new song. And then it's like this. You're soul mining is what I call it. All right. So you're down in the soul mines. And just like any mine, you're chipping away looking for a vein. right? Now, I've been lucky. I hit a lot of veins in my lifetime.
A lot, yeah.
All right? But you do not know if you're going to hit another one. Nobody knows and nobody can tell you, until you do. And then when you do, bang, you get on it. And I've written records in, like I say, 2 or 3 weeks after that. I've also taken 2 years to do it. But
So it's a mystery to you, in other words. It's not even something you can explain why. You can write something write an entire album in 2 to 3 weeks, and go 2 years. Then it's a mystery.
Yeah, that's why it's magic. I mean, songwriting and performing is real magic. You are taking something out of the air and you are making it physical. And for it to be a true act of magic, it needs the thing that you cannot possibly understand how you've particularly written a certain song.
So
even with all the craft you've learned.
You couldn't teach a class to a bunch of kids on how to write songs because you don't even really know. There's not a Bruce Springsteen process. There's not a formula.
No, you can't teach somebody to write great songs. You could probably teach somebody to write okay songs, good songs, mediocre songs, or bad songs, but it's up to that individual. If the individual has a good song in them or not, you can't teach. I don't think you can teach someone to write great songs.
I was talking before you came in here. I said people don't know that, at least I assume they don't, that it's a small fact that the first band that you were ever in, like when you were 15 years old, you're the guy who got thrown out of the band. And I'm like,
true.
Where are those assholes now who threw you out of the band? Like the one guy who could actually do something. I mean, you got fired from the band at 15. Who are those guys?
I'm still semi in touch with some of them, though we don't speak about it.
Yeah, do any of them say to you, "I'm such an asshole"? Like, why? How could I?
Man.
I mean, I would feel like, oh my God, I had a chance to maybe work with Bruce Springsteen. What was I thinking? What was the problem? Your guitar wouldn't stay in tune, and what did they pull you aside?
That's exactly right. You are exactly right. My problem, as I was told when I was dismissed, was that my guitar was simply too cheap. And I didn't have the heart to go home and tell my mother that the guitar that she busted her ass to buy me, one Christmas was too cheap. So I just bit my lip and went home and went up to my bedroom and started just playing. First solo I learned was from It's All Over Now, the Stone song. Well, baby used to stay out all night long. Made me cry, she done me wrong. She hurt my eyes open, that's no lie. Tables turned and now it's her turn to cry. Because I used to love her, but it's all over now. And it was a great Keith Richards solo from the version the Stones did. I can even still remember that. And that was the first solo I taught myself, and I said, damn it, I'm going to...
Don't you think the reason you are a superstar, an American icon, whatever you want to call yourself,
okay.
don't you think it's because you had the tenacity after... A lot of kids would have crumbled and said, I suck, my band is shit, and they fired me. But you went home and did those thousands of hours of practice. How do you learn the Rolling Stones song? You don't have a teacher, right?
Nothing.
So what do? You listen to the record over and over again? What do you do?
All right, here's the secret. You got a 45 record, right? One, you turn it down to 33 speed.
Who told you to do that? How do you know to do that?
I don't remember. Maybe I just thought of myself. I said, well, if I turn this down to 33, the solo will become much slower and I'll be able to learn it easier. So it's everything slows down. Of course, it slows down in tone too. But you do learn it, and then you speed it back up, and you play it to the record. And that was how I learned a lot of the solos. Me and Steve Van Zandt learned a lot of solos from those classic records, just like that.
And so you learned to play by ear by doing that.
Absolutely.
It's an unbelievable thing that you did that. I just can't imagine the patience. First of all, slowing down a record to 33 and then stopping it so that you can kind of figure out. You almost have to be a maniac, right?
That's
me.
To
take that up. You're a maniac.
That's the complete when it
also,
comes to that.
Early on, you're a kid. This song is one that you really tried to master.
Oh, man.
This is called Honky
Honky
Tonk.
Tonk, baby.
It's a great song. Everybody knows it.
I still got it.
You got it?
Of course. I still love it too.
And it's a basic blues kind of progression, right? What is it?
It just swings. But Bill Doggett, I think, was the artist.
Now, as you're playing, I notice you're alternate picking. How do you learn all of that stuff if you don't have a teacher? How do you
Just figure it out, you know. Actually, I was lucky. I had a good mentor who one that was first guy we had was a guy who played only in country bands before he got and joined the Castiles, and he came in, but he knew a lot of those old country blues riffs and songs. And then I had a guy named Ray Shoshone, who was in one of the greatest local bands called The Motifs. Him and his brother was Ray and Walter Shoshone. And Ray Shoshone was like a burning-ass guitar player back in friggin' 1965. And he would stop by my manager's house, little house on Center Street in Freehold, and he would come in, and sometimes he'd practice there. And if I was there, he'd show me anything he knew. So, you know, you did trust on the kindness of strangers somewhat to learn a few things. And then what I'd do whenever there was a gig on the weekend, I'd go down, and I was that guy you saw with his arms folded, standing, not dancing, just standing in front of the band all night long, watching the guitar player's fingers.
You could learn from watching.
Absolutely.
That's a recommendation that if you want to learn guitar, it's not enough to just go practice. You have to immerse yourself. You have to watch other guys play.
Of course.
And when you first start playing, you're not even a professional yet. You know,
No, you're not close.
Did
no.
did your hand shake? To me, it is such a difficult instrument to master. Were you just a nervous wreck playing that thing?
Well, you know, not really. And actually, it can't be that. Well, to master, it's probably difficult. To play, though, a guitar's relatively easy. You can probably start playing songs in 2-3 weeks or a month or so. You know, I mean, there's people all over the world are doing it. You know.
What about this song? Beatles, Twist and Shout.
You're hitting me where I live, man.
You loved it. You learned this one too, didn't you?
Well, that was the first song I ever sang in public.
Is that right?
Yeah, I still sing it. We still sing it. It's still the last song we sing very often when we go out and play bigger places, you know. First of all, it's a great song written by, I believe, Burt Burns. And it's just an incredible song. Two incredible recordings of it. One, the Isley Brothers, and obviously two, the Beatles, with John Lennon on one of his greatest rock vocals of all time. So it's just quintessential rhythm and blues rock and roll song that still drives people crazy at night for some reason.
But your songs are so lyrical, and they paint stories, and you know, you take us into working class neighborhoods. Twist and Shout, you say, is a great song, but it's like Shake It Up Baby, Twist and Shout.
That's correct.
And then some more Shake It Up Babies. And does that kind of bother you in a sense too? Like, why is that so fucking great?
That's a good question. Why is it so great? Because you can't really say why it's so great. It's just a combination of the rhythm and then the performances were, the Isley Brothers' performance, particularly, but the Beatles too, were just, you know, outstanding. So that made the song sound really good. But it's just a great rock song. What makes it, in my business, what makes a great song, as we said, it's a little bit mysterious, and it can be something as, you know, I mean, Louie Louie. Louie Louie, whoa, no, me gotta go. Where people don't know, most of the people. I was talking to somebody the other day saying this Louie Louie, which, do you know what Louie Louie is about?
Well, first of all, I always thought he said, I want to lay that girl. Is he saying that? Because that was the rumor.
That was the rumor, and it got the song banned in a variety of places.
Right.
But he is not saying that. Louie Louie is a sea shanty. He goes, fine little girl waits for me, catch a ship across the sea, sail that ship about all alone, never know if I make it home. 3 nights and days I sail the sea, Think of that girl constantly. On that ship I dream she's there. I smell a rose in her hair. Louie, Louie, whoa, baby, me gotta go. That's a great fucking song.
And C, F, and G, right? That's
all-
it. It's
that's
those
all there
three
is to
chords.
it.
And that's why every kid plays that song, because it's something you do. Why don't you play bar chords when you play that? Why do you play open chords?
I'm not a big bar chord player. I mean, bar chords are either hard to play and they're hard to get around on. I can play them, but I never play them. I've never played them in concert in 40 years, you know.
So you don't go up the net. I mean, I watch you when you play. You know what the hell you're doing with the guitar.
Yeah, I go up here but I use a capo usually, you know.
I see.
And which is something that can change the key that you're playing in as you move up the neck. So I'll use that, but I haven't used bar chords very much.
The reason I played Nadine, the Chuck Berry song, when you walked in, is
Yeah.
because I thought that you guys early on, before you became, Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band, that you guys backed up Chuck Berry on some gig.
We did.
And was it a nightmare? Because I heard Chuck Berry was really difficult.
Well, he was just kind of eccentric, is the way that I would put it. You know, we did a gig at the Maryland Field House or something, and this is 1973. And if you see the bill, which I just recently saw, it has big letters, Chuck Berry, and then Jerry Lee Lewis, and then a real tiny, and Bruce Springsteen. It's one of the bills I'm proudest of. I'm 23 years old, and I'm on the same bill on the same night as Chuck Berry and Jerry Lee Lewis. It was a classic night, and Chuck was very funny because it was like 10 minutes before he's supposed to go on. He's not there. And I'm standing there, and the promoter's trying to talk me to go back on, but people don't even know who I am at all. I'm going, I don't think I'm going on. People waiting for Chuck Berry right now.
Right.
And about 5 minutes before he's supposed to go on, the door slams. You see him walking up the ramp, him and his guitar, nobody with him. Walks into the management office. Supposedly, he got $11,000, and $1,000 he gives back to the promoter if the band was any good and if the equipment worked. You know?
Can you imagine? Think about you before a concert. You are obsessive. You will go to the soundboard. You'll go sit in every seat in the house. This guy shows up 5 minutes before his gig.
He did walk into our room, say, "Hey, fellas, how we doing?" We said, "Great." And then we said, "Chuck, what songs are we going to play, you know?" And he says, "Oh, we're going to play some Chuck Berry songs," and walks out.
That was it.
And that was it.
Had you guys rehearsed these Chuck Berry songs? Nothing.
No. All he did was go, you'd hear the stomp, and then... And you were left to find out the key. And,
Oh, my God.
We were so young,
Wait a second. Explain that to me. I'm not a musician. You're on stage in front of an audience. People have paid good money to see this guy. And you're sitting there and you're like, hey, let me go figure this out while I'm standing here.
Exactly,
Oh, my God.
All I remember was we started playing, and Chuck ran back to me and said, "Play for that money, boy, play for that money." And I forgot to say, "Chuck, we're not making any money. We're backing you up for free because we love you." Wow. But it was fun. It was something to remember, play on the bill with. I mean, those were the fathers and geniuses who we forever will owe a debt to. Just men and women of genius who will forever owe a debt to. So it's any kind of contact with them was always eventful and a lot of fun.
Oh, my God. I mean, what a learning experience. And so opposite of you. Although, I was watching, by the way, Bruce has a wonderful documentary that's going to be out on Hulu called Road Diary.
You're making my manager happy now. Yeah.
Yeah, but I bring it up because, in a sense, I get that from this documentary that you do occasionally torture your band in the same way. I mean,
Well, of course.
Yeah, I mean, you'll do a Chuck Berry on them. Like, you will just call an audible and say, all right, we're playing this song right now, and these guys have to kind of pick it up, right, real quick.
Yeah, it's it was just something we used to do for fun during the course of the night. We didn't do it so much on this tour, but torching the band is the band leader's prerogative. And in the documentary, they complain about it somewhat, in that I used to keep them playing for hours during a sound check while I walked around the entire arena, making sure every seat had the optimum sound, So, and I did used to do all that. We used to spend hours at sound check and then play for hours at night, And occasionally we'll still, if we're learning something, we'll spend a good time at sound check. But it's all it's a little more functional.
But why would you do
now.
that to the band? Why do you change arrangements at the drop of a hat? In other words, you want them to be a peak performance, or is that a way of tweaking their performance and keeping them on their toes?
Yeah, I know what the band can do. I'm very aware of my players and my buddies and the musicians in the band. So I know what they're capable of, and I throw something it's maybe at the edge of their envelope, but they're always there for it. So.
You mentioned right like 10 minutes ago, you said that the first song you performed in public was it, did you say Twist and Shout was the first one?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that? In other words, were you just a guy without a band and you got to perform somewhere? When you say, what was your first public appearance?
I was at the Elks Club in Freehold. It was 35 cents to get in on a Sunday, and you'd have about 6 bands, and we'd set up in a circle. And everybody'd play 2 or 3 songs and pass it to the next band, and the kids would come in. And it was run by a guy named, I think, Circus Bob or something. But, it was a place where everybody was 15 or 16, and it was the first time I sang, I don't remember how good or bad it was, but I did get out in front of the band and ham it up for everything I had. So
How old were you?
Probably about 15.
Jeez. I can't imagine. Where do you get the balls at 15 to stand up, even at an Elks Club? I mean,
it's not balls, it's desperation.
Is it?
Oh, yeah, man. I was so desperate to be heard or to be seen or to be taken into account that it overcame my great fear of personal humiliation.
It's amazing, really, to get up at 15 when you think about it. I mean, it's just insane.
I look back on it now, and sometimes I say, gee, damn, I wouldn't mind going back for a few days and getting the feel of what it was like when you were that age with just, 4 or 5 guys and dragging your equipment in and dragging it out. And there was something sort of both banal but wonderful about it also. And it was a great time.
Sometimes I think the opposite. I look back on my career and I go, where did I get that energy to go work at every dumpy little radio station, sit there by myself and endlessly do this thing? Like, I was thinking about you. Would you really want to go back? I mean, you're at such a nice point in your life.
Yeah.
Those days are filled with mystery, but the mystery is like, am I even going to be able to make a living? And it's horrible. You know what I mean? And your friends are getting jobs and they're starting to make money.
Right.
It's horrible.
It's just pure nostalgia that you worry about. I think you're right.
When I was watching this documentary, I was kind of taken with the band was talking and you were talking about the early days of touring and you had some shitty bus. And you said you guys slept on bunk beds, but the bunk beds weren't chained down. So I guess when the tour bus would, if you even want to call it a tour bus, would move.
Yeah, the beds would just tilt completely over in the aisle. And Steve, I'd come face to face with Steve Van Zandt in his bunk, and I'd have to push my bunk back and crash him back in shape. But, that was all part of it. And it's something, you're young, you're on the road, you're probably staying in these little $6 hotels and Holiday Inns that are still better than your apartment. It was just... I always considered myself fortunate, simple as that.
I was thinking about you early on. You're on the road, you're opening up for like Grand Funk Railroad and the band Chicago.
And Brownsville Station and Black Oak, Arkansas, and just Sha-Na-Na, all kinds of acts.
And when you're watching these other bands and they're the headliners.
That's right.
Are you saying to yourself, I know I'm better than these guys. Not that you're sitting there being competitive, but you say, I've got stories in me. I've got music in me. I got stuff. how is it that Grand Funk Railroad or Sha Na Na is a bigger draw than me? Like, are you sitting there like filled with angst and mystery that like you can't figure this out?
No, I'm just glad they spelled my name right on the on the outside of the building, because the first year it was always misspelled, and at the time they were just the big hit groups, and we were kind of coming up, and we were glad to be on those bills.
Yeah, but you weren't
best as
tempted
we
to
could.
change your sound. Like, did you ever go, maybe I should? No, you knew to stay true to what you were doing.
Yeah, I did what I thought was the best that I could do, and so I'd played in bands with a lot of different styles by that time. I'd played in R&B bands with big horn sections. I'd played in hard rock bands, where your hair's down to your shoulders, and I played a big Les Paul through a Marshall stack, and so I'd done a lot of different styles of music. So I knew that where I'd landed, whether it was going to be the most lucrative place or not, was where I wanted to be, and that's what mattered the most to me, because it was where I thought I could be my best, I could have the most impact, my voice would be singular, and so that was the way I thought about it. I've said before in interviews, more than making a fortune or being good looking or getting all the girls, I wanted to be great. I wanted to write great songs and have a great band, and because that's what I got back from the music that I listened to, and I just wanted to be my little link in the chain.
No, that's great. I mean, I think that's very evolved thinking, honestly. I mean, when you're opening up, I read you opened up for Cheech and Chong. I mean, it's like, what the hell? Are people going, hey, get off the stage. We want to hear some comedy? Are they respectful?
No, they're not respectful.
Wait for Cheech and Chong.
Yeah, I mean, I took I think we played about 5 songs, and somebody tapped me on the shoulder and said, "You got to get off now."
How do you go on? I bet a lot of guys gave up the dream just when they're like opening up for Cheech and Chong and they get the tap on the shoulder.
And my recollection is that was like one of our very first professional gigs. Was that we were glad to have it, and but you open up for a lot of different kinds of people. And like I said, I was 23 years old. I was having a good time.
Oh man, it's just wild. Can I ask you about a couple of songs? Because
let's do it.
The Ghost of Tom Joad.
This
is one of my favorite songs of yours. And, I told you last time, when you do it with Tom Morello on stage, it takes on a whole sort of new, sound. But it's so good. Who the fuck is Tom Joad anyway, Bruce? I mean, I know he's a character from...
Yeah, he's a great character in the Steinbeck novel, And let me see if I got the right... Yeah, I'm good here.
What does that mean, I'm good here? What are you listening for?
I'm just trying to see if I'm in tune, because I put the capo on, and occasionally the guitar can go out of tune. But that song was a funny thing. I kind of laid off topical songwriting for about 10 years, from Born in the USA to Streets of Philadelphia. And Streets of Philadelphia was sort of the first topical song that I'd written in a long, long time. But then after that, I said, well, maybe I should, maybe I should go back into writing a little more topically. And so we needed a song for the greatest hits package, and I wanted to write a rock song for the E Street Band, and it was Ghost of Tom Joad, which we did learn later how to play hard and loud, but at the time I couldn't figure it out, so I ended up with, what key is the harp in this thing, Kev? Do you know? There? Thank you. Thank you very much, my friend.
And what's with harmonica? You gotta buy a whole set of them in different keys, right?
You are absolutely correct.
Yeah. The first time I ever saw a guy, strap a harmonica to his neck was Dylan, right? I mean,
That's
was
right.
that where you?
That's the first time I saw it. But people have been doing it for quite a while.
Is harmonica hard, Bruce?
No.
Oh, okay. Because I'm thinking of taking it up. Maybe that'll bongos.
You'll do great on it.
I'll do good.
Let me see here. Men walk along a railroad track, Gone someplace there's no going back. Highway patrol choppers coming up over the ridge. Hot soup on a campfire under the bridge. Shelter line stretching around the corner. Yeah, welcome to the new world order. Families sleeping in the cars in the Southwest. No home, no job, no peace, no rest. Well, the highway's alive tonight, but nobody's caring nobody about where it goes. I'm sitting down here at the campfire line, searching for the ghost of Tom Joad. Pulls a prayer book out of his sleeping bag. Preacher lights up a bud and takes a drag, waiting for when the last should be first and the first should be last. In a cardboard box sneaking underpass, you got a one-way ticket to the promised land. You got a hole in your belly and a gun in your hand, sleeping on a pillow solid rock, bathing in the city aqueduct. The highway's alive tonight, where it's headed everybody knows. I'm sitting down here in the campfire line, waiting on the ghost of Tom Joad. Now Tom said, Mom River's a cop beating a guy, wherever a hungry newborn baby cries, where there's a fight against the blood and hatred in the air. Where to look for me, Mom, I'll be there. Wherever somebody's fighting for a place to stand, nerd, decent job, or a helping hand. Wherever somebody's struggling to be a friend, look in your eyes, Mom, you'll see me. Where's alive tonight? Nobody's caring nobody about where it goes. Sitting down here in the campfire line, with the ghost of old Tom Joad. So that's a song that
It's so sad, this song, you know? The chords that you use when you wrote that, are there chords you can use to evoke emotion? Like you knew, I don't know what chords you're using.
well, it's a minor key, you know, and when you're in a minor key, boom, sadness, you know, and compared to major key.
That's happy.
It's a whole other ball of wax, you know. And this was a song I wrote. I read a book called Journey to Nowhere, which was a book about post-industrialization of the United States, the effect that it's had on so many of the citizens, still to this day. And there was a lot of, also there was a lot of immigrant reporting in the Los Angeles Times, and I was living in California. So I look at all this music as kind of my California music. This song and the rest of the songs on that record, you know.
Was this one of those where you're sitting there and you're laboring over the thing, or was it just fairly sort of coming to you once you read this book?
Yeah, I think, well, you know, the last verse is the speech that, at the end of in the book, and also at the end of end of the film, you know. It's almost verbatim, you know.
So it's like you're almost like able to, you could watch a TV show or a movie or a documentary and then write about that experience that you just saw rather than something that happened to you.
Oh yeah. That's first of all, very few of my songs are really directly autobiographical, and most of them are you're putting yourself in somebody else's shoes. That's what writers very often do, you know, and you put yourself in somebody else's shoes and you walk a little bit, and you get your audience to walk a little bit in those shoes, and create some compassion and understanding for other people's lives. You know?
I feel like the song "The Wish" is autobiographical.
That's
though.
the one I was going to say.
Yeah, you know, when I was watching the documentary. And when people watch this on Friday on Hulu, you got to wait through the credits. There is this really insane moment where, and I don't know who was videoing this. Your mom was in a late stage of Alzheimer's, I believe, and you went to visit her. And the two of you are dancing together on this porch. It looked like an outside porch.
Yeah. We were at my house, and my brother-in-law we were just all sitting on the porch, and I knew my mother loved 40s big band music, you know, that was her times. And so I put on In the Mood, and she just gets up and starts going to it, you know. And she was pretty good then, you know. She could still get around, and she could still dance, and I think only her short-term memory was affected around that time, and she had it for 10 years. It got much worse later, you know. But he just happened to film it, and when my mother passed away, I found it on my phone, and so we just tucked it at the end of the film.
And I had a heavy kind of reaction to seeing that. I felt the burden of Bruce Springsteen having, in a way, not only to be a son, but also the good husband to his mother. Meaning your father was tough on your mother. You even say in the song, if Pa's eyes, meaning your father, if Pa's eyes were windows into a world so deadly and true, you couldn't stop me from looking, but you kept me from crawling through. In other words, your mother was the woman who kept you from taking on some of the worst parts of your father.
Yeah, that's true.
That is heavy. In a way, when I'm watching you dancing with your mother, I see the joy in it, but also the burden of a son to carry that weight. The mother's, you know, like, gosh, Dad was so bad to you, and I feel horrible.
Well, no, she actually did a great thing in the sense that really her love and attention broke the chain of you know, some of my pop's more difficult behavior for the family, and so we, you know, that, and then some of the work that I mean, not some of the work, a lot of the work I did in analysis and different things. Those were things that broke the chain. I didn't hand those problems down to my children. I always say, you know, you try not to hand your own sins down. Let them make their own sins, their own mistakes. Don't try to build your mistakes into their lives, you know. So my mother really was the beginning of helping me break a lot of those patterns. And then, of course, Patti, you know, Patti really gave me a lot of direction and insight into being not just a husband, but a good father. You know, I think if I'd have lost my children or lost the kind of contact and emotional intimacy, you know, that I'd lost with my dad, I'd have failed. You know, I'd have failed in my life.
Was Patti one of the reasons that you could even check your own narcissism with the kids, in the sense that here you are, the great Bruce Springsteen, you get up on stage, people adore you. Was she able to say to you, listen, Bruce, around the kids, You're not Bruce Springsteen. You're dad, and you got to keep that shit in check. Was she the one who was able to do that for you?
Of course, you know. And I said, darling, don't you understand? I'm thinking great thoughts. She's great thoughts. Screw you. Take him over to see Billy, you know, and get him some ice cream on the way, you know.
Darling, I'm about to write a hit song. Leave me alone.
I need a chauffeur. They needed to get, you know. She put everything in fabulous perspective very easily for me, because I always had a real hard time transitioning from the road, where of course you're king,
right,
to home, to my home life, you know. And I've gotten better and better at it, but I used to have a really hard time with it. He says, man, you got to get that under your belt, because, you know, when you come home, the kids need you to be dad and looking over them, and I learned how to do that. You know, I learned how to do that, and so I have to credit the lovely Miss Patti for that.
Well, we got to credit Patti and your mother, and this is a love song to your mother, right?
Yeah,
The Wish.
I'll sing a little bit of it.
A little bit.
It goes, dirty old street all slushed up in the rain and snow. Little boy and his mom shivering outside, run-down music store window. That night on top of the Christmas tree shines one beautiful star. Headline underneath, brand new Japanese guitar. I remember in the morning, Ma, hearing your alarm clock ring. I'd lie in bed and listen to you getting ready for work. Sound of your makeup case on the sink, and the ladies at the office all lipstick, perfume, and rustling skirts. How proud and happy you always look, walking home from work. Well, if Pa's eyes were windows into a world so deadly and true, you couldn't stop me from looking, you kept me from crawling through. It's a funny old world, Ma, where little boys' wishes come true. Got a few left in my pocket, a special one just for you. It ain't no phone call on Sunday, flowers or a Mother's Day card. It ain't no house on a hill with a garden and a nice little yard. Got my hot rod down on Bond Street. I'm older, but you'll know me in a glance. We'll find us a little rock and roll bar. We'll go out and dance. Well, it was me and my Beatle boots, you in pink curlers and matador pants, pulling me up off the couch to do the twist for my Uncle's Nance. Found a girl of my own now, mine. I popped the question on your birthday. She stood waiting on the front porch, told me to get out there and say what I had to say. Last night we all sat around, laughing at the things that guitar bought us. I laid awake thinking about the other things it's brought us. Well, tonight I'm taking requests here in the kitchen, and this one's for you. I'm gonna come on out and say it. But if you're looking for a sad song, hell, I ain't gonna play it. It ain't no phone call on Sunday, flyers or Mother's Day card. Ain't no house on the hill with a garden and a nice little yard. Got my hot rod down on Bond Street. I'm older, but you'll know me in a glance. We'll find us a little rock and roll bar, and we'll go out and dance. That's about as autobiographical as I get.
Man, oh, does that give me the chills? You played it for her, I assume.
Well, I'd written so many songs about my father that I said, damn, I got to write one about my mother. Now, writing about your mother is a tricky thing. Now, in country music, that's okay. Gospel music, that's just fine. Rock music, not so good. Unless you're doing it like the Doors did it, So
right,
so it's
not a lot
funny
of songs about mom. Usually in rock and roll, it's a song about some girl you're in love with or some girl you want to be in love with.
Right.
When you played it for her, though, the first time after you wrote it, what was the reaction? What was the scenario like? Did you say, "Mom, I wrote a song about you and I want to play it for you," or how's that work?
I'm trying to think. I might have made the record and gave her the tape and.
Did she get it?
Yeah,
I mean,
she got a
she
kick
got
out of it. She knew.
She knew.
She knew. But once again, I can't emphasize breaking that chain of toxicity.
Yeah. Wow.
And her place and Patti's place in it, and how it affects your kids is enormous. It's,
and don't you think, Bruce, with all of your accomplishments, that might be your greatest accomplishment, that you passed on to your children a healthy attitude. You didn't act like your father.
Yeah, I'd trade all my songs for it.
Right.
So, it was important.
Atlantic City was a song I wanted to talk about because I am obsessed with the album Nebraska. I think this is the defining Bruce Springsteen album out of all the great albums, and you've sold, about 150 million albums or something crazy like that. It's just so good, and certainly not autobiographical, this song, Atlantic City, but I don't know, when you hit the line, everything dies, and that's a fact, maybe everything that dies someday comes back. Do you believe that? Is that something that you believe in?
I wrote it. I must have believed in it while I wrote it, I guess. And in a way I do. It's funny, we just played in Asbury Park at the See Here Now festival to like 35,000 people on the beach. If you'd have told me in 1986 that Asbury would be thriving, alive, vital, and I'd be playing on the beach to 35,000 people, I didn't think I'd see that in my lifetime. So, Asbury
that's how you
particular
look at
came back. Yeah,
everything that dies someday will come back. I was thinking, you're right.
In a different form, in a different way.
Oh, that's heavy. This song is probably one of your most covered songs. A lot
of people covered.
Did you have a particular favorite? I had Ed Sheeran on the show. He did this song. I've seen Natalie Maines do it. The band did a version of it.
Yeah, it was a kick having Levin Helm sing it. He sang it so damn well.
Chris Cornell too did a beautiful version of this song.
Oh, really? I haven't heard that.
Oh.
Let me see how it goes here. Well, they blew up a chicken man in Philly last night, and how they blew up his house too. Down on the boardwalk, getting ready for a hell of a fight. Gonna see what those racket boys can do. Now there's trouble busting in from out of state, and the DA can't get no relief. Gonna be a rumble out on the promenade, and the gambling commission's hanging on by the skin of its teeth. Well, now everything dies, baby, that's a fact. But maybe everything that dies someday comes back. Put your makeup on, fix your hair up pretty, and meet me tonight in Atlantic City. It was a good one.
Oh, that is a good one. What comes to mind when you think of that song? Because, I guess most people know this about you, that you were writing that album simultaneously as you were doing
Born in the USA.
Born in the USA. It's such a huge hit for you, but that could have ended up on Nebraska.
I had a version of it was quite different, down in the dead man's tunnel. First kick I took was when I hit the ground. End up like a dog that's been beat too much till you spend half your life just covering up. I was born in the USA. I was born in the USA. So I had a version, something like that and recorded with the acoustics and sound of Nebraska. If I probably had to choose again, I would have probably put it on the record. But in those days, nobody put the same song on two records, you know.
Right.
So I left it off because I knew I had the big electric version that the band had played. But if I go back now, I'd probably put it on a record.
If I went to your house, would there be a guitar in every room in case inspiration hits? Is that the move?
Well, funny thing, there never used to be. I wasn't much of a collector. I looked at the guitars as just tools, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The Telecaster's a great workman's axe, and
why a Telecaster over a Stratocaster? Why is a Telecaster
well,
better?
for me, you know, Telecaster's like a log. You know, it's just this piece of wood with some electronics and some strings on it, and it's, you know, you can a tank could run over and it'll still play.
Do you prefer an electric guitar over an acoustic guitar?
Not necessarily. I mean, if I'm with the band, obviously, you know, but playing on your own, acoustic is a little bit more of a fuller sound.
Most songs are written on the acoustic guitar for you?
Acoustic guitar or piano. I've rarely written on an electric, you know, acoustic guitar or piano.
Have you started to collect guitars now? How many do you have?
I'm not a guy. Well, there's a lot of guitars that we use on stage, so there's a bunch there. My own personal collection is, I don't know, 50 maybe, or maybe I'm undercounting, you know, but we have them in the studio and we use them for different sounds and different things.
But in the house, how many guitars are there?
Oh, in the house? One time I wanted to have a nice guitar in every room, like you said. So I went out and I started to buy some vintage acoustics, and I'd leave one in each room, just not even so much to play, but it's a totem, you know. It reminds you of who you are, what you do, where you came from, you know. That's when I see a guitar, pick one up, that's what it reminds me of.
And where would you buy these guitars? Will you go to a store and say, show me some old guitars that have some history behind them? Where do you go?
There's some real well-known guitar stores, and there's the names are slipping me. But
like Norm's Rare Guitars? Do you go there in L.A.?
I've been there. There's a great one in Nashville that I can't quite remember the name of at the moment. But you know, I've gone to a few of those places, and they have a nice collection of vintage guitars, you know.
And you'll plunk down some dough.
Yeah, they're not giving them away. They're making you pay for them. So.
Right. But vintage is better than new, because why?
I have no idea, you know.
you just like paying a lot of money for a guitar.
Well, you know, I'm a believer in that things collect soul. Old cars, old guitars, old furniture, that they somehow absorb the souls of the people who've played them, sat in them, and that there's something to that, you know. Conversely, they're rich. In theory, they may be rich with songs. That's what you're hoping for, you know. Though one of the guitars I have that I wrote all of Letter to You on was something that a kid handed me when I was coming out of the play in New York City. He gave it to me. I thought he wanted me to sign it. And he said, "No, man, it's just for you."
Whoa.
And I got in the car, and I started to play it, and it was like one of the best sounding guitars I ever heard.
What is the guitar?
I forget what brand it is. It was a brand I'd never heard before, you know, but it was beautiful, beautifully made, beautiful looking, and beautiful sounding. The guy just handed it to me on the street.
How generous is that?
It was generous.
Yeah, that's a meaningful gift.
It was a meaningful gift. And I went home and I wrote most of the songs from Letter to You on it.
You think that kid knows you wrote most of the songs on that?
Yeah, I think we've had some contact with him, so he knows the story.
That's a fantastic story. Do you have a favorite guitar?
Well, I have like the guitar that I recorded Nebraska on. I've got, of course, my Telecaster that I played for 55 years, you know. I
still have the same one?
Same one, yeah. So that's probably my number one special guitar. I don't even bring it on the road too much anymore because it's too special to me. So,
what do they mean by a guitar player's feel? Because I'll tell you why I bring this up. When you, at the end of the documentary, I'd never seen you do this before. you come out without the E Street Band. It's been a great night. You come out with a guitar and you do I'll See You in My Dreams, which has become, again, one of my top 10 favorite Bruce Springsteen songs, I'll See You in My Dreams. But, you know, you come out just with the acoustic, and my wife and I were watching it, and she goes, gee, Bruce hardly hits the strings like when he plays. And I said, I think that's what musicians mean when they say, this is the feel. In other words,
of course.
What does that mean, Bruce? What the feel?
No two musicians have the same feeling on a guitar. I've never seen two musicians whose feel is the same. It's your fingerprint, you know, and they're all different. Nobody touches the guitar in exactly the same fashion. And so it's a very, very, very individual quality, you know.
So when I see you playing I'll See You in My Dreams, there's a touch that you have with this acoustic guitar. Not to make it sexual, but it's almost like you're fondling the guitar. You're not hitting it hard.
No.
It's a gentle touch.
It's a good fondle, you know.
A good fondle, right.
But like hard is... And to me, when you hit these electric acoustic guitars hard, the electric part comes out in them, or you can play it, you know. So I'm muffling it with my palm is what I'm doing.
You're palm muting the strings.
I'm muting the strings, and it's a technique I use all the time. So See You in My Dreams was the idea that, hey, death is not the end. You know, your spirit lives on in your children and the deeds that you have done during your lifetime, may they be good or bad, and that you carry on in one way or another in the world. So I'll give you a little bit of it here. The road is long and seeming without end. Days go on. I remember you, my friend, and though you're gone, and my heart's been emptied, it seems, I see you in my dreams. I got your guitar here by the bed, all your favorite records, and all the books that you read. And though my soul feels like it's been split at the seams, I see you in my dreams. I see you in my dreams. When all our summers have come to an end, I'll see you in my dreams. We'll meet and live and laugh again. I'll see you in my dreams. Up around the river bend, for death is not the end. 'Cause I'll see you in my dreams. See you in my dreams. When all our summers have come to an end, I'll see you in my dreams. We'll meet and live and love again. I'll see you in my dreams. Yeah, up around the river bend, for death is not the end. 'Cause I'll see you in my dreams. You in my, I see you in my dreams. So it's all about how you touch the guitar and how gently you play it, and how you intertwine it with your voice. So when you're playing by yourself, you know, you'll accent places where your voice stops. You'll bring the guitar down where your voice sings. You know, it's all just stuff that you learn as you go
Is this
along.
again in a minor key? Because this song touches my heart.
And this is in a major key.
In a major key.
Yeah.
And you say a major key is happy, but this, when you say, when all my summers come to an end, Immediately I think about, oh, my wife and my kids. I don't want to leave them. I don't want to die.
Sure.
You know, it brings up so many things, and this is about people you lost.
Yeah, well,
Clarence, I guess, and some of the guys from the Castiles, your original band. They've all died, and you're the last man standing.
Up, you know. So yeah, it came out of the. That's my friend George Thies was in the first band with me, and I realized that all the guys had passed away except for myself. But
how scary is that?
yeah, I wonder who's next.
Oh, isn't it awful? Isn't it awful to contemplate that? I mean, you know, and when you say you have this person's records and their books and their guitars, is that literally true? That this person, George, who died, do you have some of his personal items?
Nope.
Oh, you son of a gun. You manipulate me so well.
Actually, I do. I have a great picture of George and I, as I say in the song, on his wedding day. He got married very, very young. You know, he was, 18, 19 years old. Got a picture of the two of us sitting on his wedding day that I hold very, very fondly. And So yeah, I have a few things that I remember George by.
When you were singing that, do you think of him specifically, or would that be dangerous? You'd probably break down.
You're just inside the song, and you're not. I'm not. Anyway, I'm not thinking super specific. It's about all the people that. That you lose out of your life as you get older. It just death becomes a part of life.
Bruce, before we bring in the band and everyone, so I told you this last night. I started hearing from my brother-in-laws, from my wife's friends. You better have Bruce, like I'm in charge of you. You better have Bruce do some of Thunder Road or something. I mean, this was like over and over again. That's why I wrote you late into the night and said, Bruce, I'm really screwed if you don't do a little of Thunder Road. I mean, what do you think it is? I mean, is this the most requested song you get in concert?
It's one of them.
And you say when you wrote this, you were channeling the voice of Roy Orbison.
I was both writing a song that was sort of not necessarily about Roy, but the feeling that his records gave me, Only the Lonely and In Dreams, just incredible records. And so I was deep into Roy Orbison when I wrote this song.
Those vocals of Roy Orbison,
forget about it. All right, a little bit of Thunder Road.
A little bit, just so I don't get yelled at. All right.
Screen door slams, Mary's dress sways. Like a vision, she dances across the porch as the radio plays. Roy Orbison singing for the lonely. Hey, it's me and I want you only. Don't turn me on again. Just can't face myself alone again. Don't you run back inside, darling, you know just what I'm here for. So you're scared and you're thinking that maybe we ain't had you young anymore. Sure, little faith is magic in the night. Ain't a beauty, but you're alright. Oh, and that's all right with me. You can hide beneath your covers and study your pain. Make crosses from your lovers, throw roses in the rain. Wait your summer prayer in vain for Savior to rise from these streets. Well, I'm no hero, that's understood. All the redemption I can offer girls beneath this dirty hood. With a chance to make it good somehow. Hey, what else can we do now? Except roll down the window and let the wind blow back your hair. Well, now it's busted open, these two lanes will take us anywhere. We got one last chance to make it real. Trading these wings on some wheels. Climbing back, heaven's waiting down on the tracks. Oh, come take my hand. We're riding out tonight to case the promised land. Whoa, whoa, Thunder Road, oh, Thunder Road, Thunder Road. Headline out there like a killer in the sun. Hey, I know it's late, but we can make it if we run. Oh, 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 Thunder Road, sit tight, take hold, Thunder Road. Get you out of trouble there?
Oh, man, does that sound good. You like slowing them down, though, don't you? It's kind of fun to come up with a different
Yeah, well,
vibe.
you know, that is one of my great songs. You know,
It
not
is
one of my greatest, and it still holds a very fond place in my heart.
When you wrote it, did you know it would be one of your greatest songs?
No.
You don't?
No, you know, I wrote it in a little place on West End Court in West End Long Branch, 7.5 West End Court, and wrote most of Born to Run in this little shotgun shack of a house. And but no, you're just writing your songs. You're just writing your songs for your next album. You don't know what's going to happen to them, if it's going to be a success or
Can you
not.
get caught in a trap as a songwriter? And when you write a song like that and it becomes one of your biggest songs, do you go, I better go back to that house. I better go write, and I got to. Or do you ever think like I got to go capture that magic again?
Now, the country that I live in when I'm songwriting is all in my head.
It's unbelievable. It's a complicated place, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know, you were talking when you first walked in, just when we started this morning. You said songwriting's, it's a real bitch. It's hard. But what was it about the song I'm on Fire, where I read that you said it came to me in 2 minutes? I wrote I'm on Fire in 2 minutes.
Exactly.
What was the process?
The process was very easy. It was just I had a little riff going. Roy had that little synth line. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. Hey, little girl, is your daddy home? Did he go away and leave you all alone? I got a bad desire. Oh, I'm on fire. Wrote it in two minutes.
That's rock and roll because you're thinking about a girl, right?
Well, the funny thing is, if you go on like Apple or something, it's the #1 song in all of our songs. It's a big number, but more over Dancing in the Dark, over Born in the USA, over Born to Run. I'm on Fire is usually on top. That's the song people like the most.
Would you ever take a challenge, not in any literal sense, but like say it to yourself, go, I'm writing a song in 2 minutes. I'm going to do it again. That's it. No, you can't do that. You can't think like that, right?
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you can't do that,
It's just either it happens or it doesn't.
Exactly.
So, Bruce, what do you think? Should we bring in the band and celebrate not only this great documentary that's out?
Yeah,
It's called Road Diary.
Road Diary, that's it. That's what we're supposed to be talking about. But so that is what we're kind of talking about. But Road Diary, it's a lot about the band, a lot about
the miracle of the band, because
Exactly.
What band, as you point out in this thing, Simon and Garfunkel couldn't stay together, the Beatles couldn't stay together.
Hall don't like oats.
Hall hates oats.
That's right. I mean, Sam hated Dave. Phil hated Don Everly. It's a long list.
Tell these young whippersnappers out there who can't seem to keep a band together, what is the secret, Bruce? Why is the E Street Band continued to exist? There's Patti. I got to ask her about you.
She's the reason.
She's the reason the E Street Band is together.
She's in the E Street Band. If I want to break it up, she says, you can't do it.
You can't get out. Hi, Patti. Good to see you. We were complimenting you earlier. I don't know if you heard it. But I think, again, this is all my imagination, the most difficult part of being married to Bruce Springsteen and also being in a band with him is that you could go home and he could still think he's in charge, right? How does one manage that? Because did you really have to sit Bruce down at some point and say, listen, Bruce, I'm in love with you. I think you're great. I could even see myself spending my life with you. But you've also, I mean, was there an actual discussion where you had to map out, especially for your children, how Bruce should behave at home?
Not really. I think it was more done in personal expectations of how you want, like how you'd want a friend to be, or your lover, or your husband. I think when being in the band, I don't know if everyone would agree with me. I don't know if they would, but I always tried not to be a wife on stage. I really did. I didn't want to bring that on stage. Never like, any kind of ownership or husband-wife vibe. Tried to, especially in the beginning, tried to keep that out of it. And Bruce always has this great saying that he says, it's like on stage, it's, but as soon as I get my foot off the stage,
It's over, baby.
it's over.
I'm only boss for 3 hours. Then I surrender the title, happily.
No, because I mean, everything I read about your family and your kids, they seem like very well adjusted. And we know, and I'm sure you guys know better than I do, you've probably met other rock stars or people who are extremely famous. Their kids can be completely out of control because they're competing with dad and mom the whole time. You know,
try not to set up that dynamic. And it's funny you say that, because that's the most important dynamic. I think when you walk into our home, especially when the kids were growing up, you wouldn't know what anybody did for a living. There was nothing in the house that indicated there's somebody famous in the house, or this is an overwhelming situation. There were no pictures that related to the work or anything.
Our kids didn't know what we did until one day, I think Evan came home from first grader, much later even, second or third. Said, hey, Dad, what's 10th Avenue freeze out?
I hope you told them you don't even know. Right, you've said 10th Avenue freeze out. You don't even know what a 10th Avenue freeze out.
Sure.
We're not sure.
They didn't become interested, really, even though we took them on the road when they were very, very young. They didn't really get involved until probably the past 5 years.
Yeah, and they still only remain very, 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 very semi-interested. It's like now it's like, okay, we'll come down to the show. I'll bring some friends.
Yeah.
But that's about the size.
Because really, you got to make your kids the star, and you got to say you got to cheer them on. They've got to somehow feel special. And when you got a dad and mom like you two,
well,
it's a difficult trick.
The key is, first of all, they don't need another hero. They need a father or a parent or a mother. You need to be their audience.
Right.
You can't go home thinking that there's nothing more obnoxious than entertaining inside your own home. So you're their audience. They're at the center of the.
I love a good love story, Patti. And when you're falling in love with the boss, and he's literally like the boss. You know what I mean? Like he's your boss.
I have to tell you,
I don't think so.
Have you ever screamed out in bed, the boss? Ah, boss. It's never happened.
I've
Thank
never
God.
heard that.
Never.
Right.
I don't think you've ever called. I've never called.
Because Bruce, here's a romantic moment, because I know both of you are songwriters. I picture at home it being fantastic. Two songwriters. It could also be horrible because there's a competition between songwriters sometimes. No, you don't find that at all.
No, I don't think so.
But is there a moment where Bruce has written, I don't know, something? He comes, honey, wait till you hear what I just wrote. Are you the first? Or when he writes a love song to you?
I'll tell you a good story.
Okay.
So before you asked Bruce to ever write anything like just write off the cuff, right?
Right.
And I thought of that time I was making my Rumble Doll record. We were living in L.A. We'd just woken up, and when I was talking about, working, because I had to go to work with Mike Campbell. And he goes, you know what you need on your record? You need one song where you really brag about yourself. Like really just throw it out there and be really sexy and brag. It's not quite my thing, right? So I said, no, I'm so not doing that, Bruce. And he goes, yeah, you got to do it. And he started singing Red-Headed Woman. You literally got out of bed, picked up the guitar, and while I'm sitting in bed, you wrote Red-Headed Woman at that moment.
Brunettes are fine, man. Blondes are fun, but when it comes to getting a dirty job done, it takes a red-headed woman. It takes a red-headed woman. It takes a red-headed woman to get that dirty job done.
That's fantastic.
Dedicated to my fabulous wife.
It just made me think about it. I'd forgotten about that.
I mean,
you wanted me to sing it on my record.
That's right.
I had written all myself.
I don't know. I just picture a house filled with music, and you guys, it's some romantic notion of like the two of you writing. And I don't know.
I think what we do that the kids would sometimes complain about is instead of talking, we'd sing everything back and forth to each other and just make up,
How does that work?
It's incredible.
I'm making the pancakes, baby. Get some. Oh yeah, I got this. It's just like
Ridiculous things occur. Thanks.
completely silly and ridiculous.
Because you guys are married, Patti, are you able, well, maybe the rest of the E Street Band cannot say to Bruce, hey, Bruce, what you're doing here isn't working and this and that. Can you pull the boss aside and say, listen, Bruce, I don't like what's going on here. I don't think there should be tuba on this song. Maybe there shouldn't be tuba. Are you able to go places the band can't?
Abso-freaking-lutely.
You don't say, well, I'm the boss.
Absolutely.
You can't tell me this.
Patti is opinionated.
I am full of ideas, and sometimes they're very good.
They
And,
are, yes.
When
Patti's a great producer.
Thank you.
Produces her own records. She's got a great new record. I'm gonna sell it right now. That hasn't come out yet, but she just finished it, or you're close to finishing it. And she's really good in the studio. So if she comes up with something, I listen to her.
So Patti is the boss of the boss.
Correct.
Well,
Yeah,
that's boss of bosses.
it's correct. It's absolutely
not that
correct.
far. I don't want to seem, but
All right,
I think women, when you have children and stuff, are usually the
boss of the boss.
boss of the head of the household. Let's
Patti,
put it that way.
Were you
It's nicer.
when you found yourself falling in love with the boss? Did you say to yourself, "Oh God, I shouldn't be falling in love with the boss. I work with this guy. I should just avoid this like the plague."
No, it's because he's a suck the air out of the room attention whore. Perhaps I shouldn't get involved with him.
But when we first got together, you did everything for me. I did nothing.
Yeah. Patti was a
Nothing.
real loner.
We were kind
lived
of
like
feral
I did,
when we got together.
like a
right?
musician.
Yeah.
You lived like a musician when we got
so-
together. So I had to do everything. I had to make it breakfast.
He
and
made me
everything
breakfast,
else.
did the orange juice.
It really spoiled you.
Just for a little while.
How
Just
many years
flipped.
in before
Just-
Bruce stops doing all that? And he's just like, I can't make breakfast. I'm Bruce. It's crazy.
He doesn't do it.
He doesn't do that.
But
Thank
maybe
God.
it is.
Yeah. This band is so fabulous. We celebrate this band because it is the E Street Band. I'm looking over at my friend Nils Lofgren, who I was bragging about you this morning. And please don't bring up the fact that you beat me in basketball and I'm 6'5".
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, well, I don't want to talk about it. It's really upsetting to me, and it never really I let him win. I just want to say that. Nils, how are you?
I'm good, Howard. And, it was a close game. It was 34-4.
Yeah, I scored 4 points off you. I was convinced maybe I could win, but I was foolish. But I said about you this morning, I don't know if you were listening in, but I said it is an unbelievable thing that Nils Lofgren, to me, is in the E Street Band. Because, Bruce, I remember when I was a disc jockey, WRNW, 100 years ago, I would play Nils Lofgren, solo records. And this guy had a big career.
Absolutely.
And when you announced that he was going to be the guitar player and singer in your band, I was like, that's impossible because he had this whole big thing going.
Well, we were incredibly fortunate, first of all,
Were you filled with angst, Nils? Was that a big decision to join the E Street Band?
No, well, look, I was lucky. I was 17. I befriended Neil Young. When I was 18, I did the After the Gold Rush album.
Amazing.
And
he played piano.
And riding to the session in Topanga Canyon with David Briggs, his producer, and blasting Creedence Clearwater, every day I said, wow, it's great not to be the band leader. It's great to be in a great band. There's so much work that's non-musical as a band leader that goes away. So when Bruce asked me to join the band, it was like a gift from heaven because all this other stuff goes away and I get just to be in a band.
Is there an audition process? Does Bruce call you in the room and say, okay, buddy, play, Hava Nagila on the guitar and let me hear what it sounds like? What is the process?
Well, I'd been up to see Bruce. It was kind of in the early 80s. I lost my record deals. They said, hey, Nils, you're great. You're a dinosaur. There's no more work for you here.
Right.
Bruce invited me to his house. We went around, jammed a bit. But, Bruce and Steel Mill and my band Grin did an audition night for Bill Graham trying to get an opening act gig in 1970.
Wow.
So I've been following Bruce ever since then. He's always been kind and supportive. Anyway, 6 months later, Born USA was coming out. Said, hey, why don't you come up for a couple of days? We'll jam with the band. Now, I didn't ask questions, but I figured, that's not bar hopping. So I did some homework, played for 2 days with him, and he asked me to join, which was a gift. It's a musical lottery. And here, actually, Patti and I, this May, it's been 40 years. We both joined the band 40 years ago this May.
Are you
we
guys
were hired? We were the newbies.
Yeah.
And still called the new people.
Well, they got-
probably to this day.
Patti, did you have to audition
the
for
new
Bruce?
guys.
Did you, in other words, to get in the E Street Band, it can't be a simple process.
Well, we'd known each other before all that, you
Yeah.
know? We'd become friendly. And so you knew that I sang. And you very casually called me up and you said, hey,
Yeah.
you want to come up to Lidditz? And
Well, I knew Patti could sing. I'd seen her sing at Stone Pony. And
But Bruce, you had seen her sing at the Stone Pony, but you
Yeah.
wisely said to her, she was what, a kid? And you said to her, you're not going in my band yet. You need to like finish school.
that was another story. I was in high school.
That was high school. You tried to
So
get in the band.
embarrassing.
Why is that embarrassing to you?
I mean, I was
Because
I
how
was
your
like
life
20.
unfolds, and to tell you the truth, there's so many things that I didn't remember that happened, and I
Yeah.
didn't remember that I came and auditioned with you guys.
You did.
You told me what I wore. Remember 2 years ago? You said I remember that. You had
I
the
remember what you were
peasant shirt on and the coral beads. And
So Patti
Max,
and
you were
I,
looking a little too close. You remember what she wore. Oh,
I was deeply flattered.
Lord. You're damn right you are.
Now, Max is the band historian. He pays attention to all detail, you know. But
But you just called me up. It was casual.
But you
I said,
very
"No."
lovingly said to Patti at a different time in her life,
in high school.
you stay in high school. You're not ready to go on the road.
well, I was only 20, and so she
I was
like,
underage.
She was like 16 or 17.
Yeah.
And we were traveling on mattresses in the back of U-Haul trucks.
Right.
You know, so there was no, you know, it just wasn't good timing.
You know, we grew up probably 15 miles from each other, right, in Jersey. So he was always known as the fastest guitar player. It wasn't as a songwriter or a singer.
That's right.
It was Springsteen, the fastest
That was the
guitar
gun-
player.
that was the gunslinger.
That was
Wow.
the thing. So, you'd always grown up around it. I mean, that's when I was really young.
So when you were 17, you went to see Bruce, the fastest guitar player. You would go see him at a show?
I think I saw you for the first time open up for
Cheech
Jethro
and Chong?
Tull.
Oh, Jethro Tull.
at Monmouth College.
What a double bill. Bruce
Yeah.
Springsteen and Jethro Tull. Who put
Actually,
that
went to
bill
see
together?
Jethro Tull, to tell you the truth.
Right? You went to see Jethro Tull and you happened to see Bruce. Wow.
You know. But hey, we opened up for Mountain too. As we go on, talk about how many strange bills we had. But,
Bruce, was Leslie West a great guitar player?
yeah, and he had a great voice, Mississippi Queen. But Pat, you know, I'd seen Patti sing in the Pony, and Steve had left the band, and so I said, believe it or not, when Max and Roy got in the band, they had to audition as singers along as well.
Max,
as-
by the way, Max, when you auditioned, what was the drum piece that Bruce asked you to play? I forget.
I think they played with everybody the same thing, but the thing I remember was a Fats Domino song.
That's
that
it.
that they were playing called "Let the Four Winds Blow," and it was kind of a up-tempo boogie kind of shuffle with a lot of accents.
Let the four winds blow. Let them blow, let them blow. From the east to the west. I love you the best. That's what we tested you on.
That's the first thing I played.
I thought we hit you on something by James Brown. We did. I know we played some James Brown rhythms because they were intricate.
Yeah.
And Max was give us a little bit, Max.
Oh, well,
Max, is the hardest drum song of Bruce's to play, is it Candy's Room? Is that the toughest?
depends where it is on the show. As a first song, yeah, that could be, it was actually a pretty ballsy thing to just play a whole song on the snare drum.
Yeah, what is the drum part on that? Just give me a...
It starts.
In Candy's room.
What's funny, I started by myself and, big roar of recognition. And just for that little moment, it's Max Weinberg and the E Street Band.
That's your big moment, man.
That's my big moment.
That's one of the most fun songs to play
Yeah, that
live,
is
though,
fun.
isn't it? You hear that like it's just like
Well, Candy's Room is one of my favorite songs.
Yeah,
You
it's
want to know
fun.
about Candy's Room? So I'm a disc jockey at WRNW in Westchester, and I'm the most uncool disc jockey. I don't know any deep cuts or anything. I'm always playing the hits, and everyone at the station is a music aficionado. I I go on the radio, and I think one of the first songs I play is Candy's Room.
Really?
'Cause I'm thinking, I'm the coolest guy. They're going to think that I know what I'm doing, because that's a deep cut. You know what I mean?
It was. It still
love
is,
it.
I
Yeah,
guess.
I love it. So Candy's Room saved my ass.
It's still popular when we play it. So.
Powerful song.
Except it's a little short. It's hard to be a disc jockey and go to the bathroom.
That's a quick one, man.
It's real quick. You should add a few more verses to that. Before I introduce the rest of the E Street Band, because we want to celebrate all you guys, I want to ask you about a song that you guys do, and we'll go way back into Spirit in the Night. And here's my fascination with this song. This is where Clive Davis, the head of the record company, says to Bruce, you're working on an album, but you need a hit song. I am floored by that statement. If I was a young songwriter and someone said, yeah, I just listened to your album, but I need a hit song, is the guy saying to you, these other songs aren't so good? Is he saying to you, what, these other songs aren't a hit? And by the way, how do you go off and write a hit song?
Well, first he said, I think so. Do you want to be on the radio? I said, yeah, I want to be on the radio. He said, you got to write something that's a hit. So I had this long, really awful song on the record. So Clive did a very smart thing. He sent me home, and I think I went to the beach. I brought my guitar, and I wrote Spirit in the Night and Blinded by the Light. Now, the lucky thing was, for those two songs, and only those two songs on the first record, we found Clarence Clemens. Clarence Clemens was missing in action for the entire first part of recording Greetings from Asbury Park, but we found him for those last two songs, so he's on Spirit in the Night and Blinded by the Light. But you want us to give you a little bit of it here?
Yeah,
we're ready,
are you
man.
kidding? If
We're
whatever
ready.
the band wants to do, I'm ready for it, because imagine the pressure on Bruce. The guy says from the record company, go write a hit song. But did you say to yourself, this is a hit?
Well, it had a catchy chorus. That was all I could promise, you know?
Yeah.
So, want to try it, guys? Yeah, sure. All right. 1, 2, 3. Well, crazy Janie and her mission man were back in the alley trading hands. Along came Wild Billy with his friend G-Man, tooted up for Saturday night. Billy slammed all his coaster brakes. Anybody wanna go on up to Greasy Lake? About a mile down on the dark side of Route 88. I got a bottle of rose, let's try. We'll pick up Hazy Davy and Killer Joe. I'll take you all out to where the gypsy angels go. Build like light, ooh, when they dance like spirits in the night. All night, all night, all night. Oh, don't you know what they do to you like spirit in the night? All night, all night, all night. Stand up now and let it shoot through you. Well, now Wild Billy was a crazy cat, and he shook some dust out of his coonskin cap. Try to trust some of this, I'll show you where you're at, or at least it'll help you really feel it. By the time we made it up to Greasy Lake, I had my head out the window, Janie's fingers in the cake. I think I really dug her, I was too loose to fake. Said I'm hurt, she said, honey, let me heal it. We danced all night to a soul very bad. She kissed me just right like only a lonely angel can. Felt so nice, just as soft as a spirit in the night. All night, all night, all night. Janie don't know what she do to you, like a spirit in the night. All night, all night, all night. Stand up and let it shoot right through you.
beautiful. What a band.
Grew bright, the stars through light. Dancing in the middle. We're down in the water in a stone mud fight. Killer Joe gone passed out on the lawn. Anyway, it goes.
I'm going home. Goodbye. I interrupted your song. That's so humiliating. You guys.
That was so funny.
I suck. Oh, God. That was a beautiful jazzy feel to it, too, man. I love it.
That was the original feel. That was the original feel of the song, which I don't think we've played as live on the radio since like 1974, but that was the original feeling of the song when I wrote it. That's on the first album.
When you wrote it, did you anticipate me interrupting it? Was that something?
We'd have put that on if you'd have been around at the time.
You want to know it, Bruce? I was in the band for a second. My voice came
were.
like, yeah, it was great. It was really very jarring and perfect. You know, the other thing about that song, too, from what I know, that's the first song of yours you ever heard on the radio.
That's right.
What was that like, and where were you?
I was at, like in Connecticut. We were playing at a college, and I was standing on a street corner, and a guy pulled up with his window down, and I heard it coming out of the radio. And I was like, oh, my God. My dream has come true, you know. It was wonderful. I still love hearing my stuff on the radio when it occasionally gets on.
And to hear it coming from another guy's car,
so fabulous.
that's unbelievable.
So fabulous.
And there's something about the sound of it coming out of a car radio.
Oh, the best. The best, man. It was the best. Yeah.
That doesn't get old, that feeling. Like
No, hell no, man. Hell no.
And Jake, what is this legendary story about you? You showed up for your audition to get into the E Street Band, and you were totally unprepared. Now, how do you do that? Explain it to me.
Well, you know.
Bruce, were you shocked?
No. Well, you said you got lost, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was trying to find my house, and he got lost, and he came about an hour late. And I didn't know Jake really at all at the time, so I didn't know if he was like, you know, straight up or not. And but go ahead, Jake, you can tell a little.
Yeah, I mean, there's an epic backstory to the whole thing. But, yeah, you know, it worked itself out. One of the things that was really significant for me at the time, you know, like Bruce and I had both lost a cornerstone, you know, like Clarence and I were incredibly close. So we had spent some time together, you know, just like meeting together before that, just as you know.
And Clarence was the guy who probably said to you, pick up the sax, right? I mean, I would think.
He didn't say that to me, but he is definitely the inspiration.
Right.
You know? Yeah. 100%.
And so Bruce says to you, I'm thinking about you coming into the band.
Yeah.
And you show up for an audition, what? You just didn't know the songs?
No, I didn't hear Jake until he played at Clarence's funeral. I wasn't even that aware that he played the sax that much, you know. But I'm sorry. Go
Oh,
ahead.
no, it's fine.
What song did you play at Clarence's funeral?
Amazing Grace.
On the sax.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was beautiful, you know. But Jay came in, and he sort of knew some of the things, but he didn't know he didn't have it down super tight. So I said, Jake, you should go back and get it down perfect. And
he did.
Yeah, and then I spent the next 3 months getting my my lips bleeding and playing for 9 hours a day.
And what did you do? You just listened to every Bruce Springsteen song and learned them?
Yeah, essentially.
Wow.
Yeah, I was going back listening to the recordings. You know, for me, like it wasn't really as to be honest with you, it wasn't as much about the gig at the time as much as it was like to honor my uncle, you know, and to continue his voice.
What pressure to come into an E Street Band that your uncle, you know, was so legendary.
We're very, very lucky that simply, I always say, hey, man, somebody up there likes me because Jake Clemens exists, you know?
Yeah.
And really, I don't know what we would have done without him. He carries on Clarence's tradition, but Jake's his own, at the same time, he's his own man when he comes out at night, and he brings his own spirit, you know, something very youthful and wonderful to the sax parts now. So it's nice to have you around. You did all right at the end of the day, my boy.
Bruce, let's recognize Curtis King, Lisa Lowell, Michelle Moore, and Ada Dyer.
The E Street Choir, ladies and gentlemen.
What a sound. You guys, do you practice on your own I love backup vocals. I love the harmonies that you come in with Bruce. How do you work it out when, let's say, Bruce isn't around? What is that rehearsal like?
Well, when we hear that the song should be done, we immediately kind of, get into a huddle right? We get together and we just start putting it together, so that by the time he's back, he comes to the stage, we're ready for him.
So like on Spirit of the Night, you come in for, what does it sound like without Bruce? When you're just doing it a cappella and you're working it
Ready?
out? Okay.
Here's the key.
All right.
Like a spirit in the night, all night, all night. Baby, don't know what I did to you. Like a spirit in the night, all night, all night. It sounds pretty good without me.
Oh, yeah.
I'm fucking the whole thing up now.
That is great. Don't you love that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's too much. We were talking about 4th of July, Asbury Park, Sandy. Sandy is a compilation of women that you knew in your life before Patti.
Yeah, I would say this goes back to 1974. I was leaving Asbury. I moved to Bradley Beach, big move, one town down. I was living in a garage apartment, and that's where I wrote a lot of The Wild and the Innocent and the E Street Shuffle, little garage apartment on 5th Avenue in Bradley Beach. This was a song I just wrote really about leaving Asbury and what that felt like as a 24-year-old young guy. Want to kick a little of it, guys? All right, 1, 2, 3. Sandy, fireworks are hailing over Little Eden tonight. Hey, force and a line, and all those stoned out faces left stranded on this 4th of July. Down in town, the circuit's full of switchblade lovers, so fast, so shiny, so sharp. As the wizards play down on Pinball Way, on the boardwalk way past dark. And the boys from the casino dance with their shirts open like Latin lovers along the shore, chasing all them silly New York girls. With Sandy, the aurora is rising behind us. Yeah, the pier lights, our carnival life forever. Well, love me tonight, for I may never see you again. Hey, Sandy girl, now, baby. Yeah, Sandy girl, now, baby. That's fun. I still like that song.
Are you sure you're done?
We can keep going, man.
No. I don't want to interrupt, Wow, that is beautiful. I'm so glad, Patti, that you're here today. First of all, how is your health? I know that you issued a statement. You were going through some health problems. How are you feeling?
I feel pretty good. I just don't have the energy level to be touring.
Yeah.
It
Right.
would just not. It would make me not feel well, and it's not good for what I have.
Is it hard for you not to go on tour?
Extremely difficult to something that you've done for the larger part of your life, basically, to see everybody go out. So if I come to a show, I don't go out in the audience and watch because I'll just feel such a disconnect. Like, oh no, wait a second. So, but
It would be too hard for you to sit there and see the band doing their thing. And
I'll sit by the side of the stage. But going back and sitting out in the audience, it just makes you feel just a little strange. Yeah, you miss it. Of course you miss it. It's a real thing,
She's been incredible. If it wasn't for Patti, if it wasn't for Patti, I couldn't go out on the road. And
That's sweet.
And and she's been such a
No, I wanted
soldier
you to
through
go
the
out.
whole
You missed
thing.
so many tours during COVID,
Yeah.
It was important for you to say to him, listen, even though I can't go, I want you to go.
Oh, yeah. I was fully behind that.
Yeah,
Fully.
it was very
Yeah.
incredible and generous of you.
When I came to see you guys a couple of times on Broadway, to me, when you guys are on stage together, and particularly I'm thinking about Brilliant Disguise, it is just such an emotional moment. Just the two of you singing that.
Well, it's funny because Patti really transforms the song in the sense that the song's funny. It's about the masks that we wear when we initially get together with people, or as we carry on, how difficult it is to know someone or to simply know yourself, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But when Patti sings it with me, it's funny. She turns it into a love song, you know, which is really into a tough-hearted love song, which is really a cool thing, you know. So
Patti changed the meaning of the song.
yeah, absolutely changes the meaning of the song when we sing it together completely, you know. So let's play a little bit of it.
Oh, I would
Ready,
love
boys? 1, 2, 3, 4. I hold you in my arms as a band plays. What are those words whispered, baby, just as you turn away? Well, I saw you last night, oh, out on the edge of town. I wanna read your mind and know just what I got in this new thing I found. So tell me what I see when I look in your eyes. Is that you, baby, or just a brilliant disguise? I heard somebody call your name from underneath our willow. I saw something tucked in shade underneath your pillow. Well, I tried so hard, baby, but I just can't see what a woman like you is doing with me. So tell me who I see when I look in your eyes. Is that you, baby, or just a brilliant disguise? Now look at me, baby, struggling to do everything right. Oh, and then it all falls apart. Oh, when I'll call the lights. I'm just a lonely pilgrim. I walk this world in well. I wanna know if it's you I don't trust. I damn sure don't trust myself. Now you play the loving woman, I play the faithful man. But just don't look too close, oh, into the palm of my hand. Well, we stood at the altar, the gypsy swore our future was right. But come the wee hours, maybe, baby, the gypsy lied. So when you look at me, you better look hard and look twice. Is that me, baby, or just a brilliant disguise? Tonight our bed is cold. I'm lost in the darkness of our love. God have mercy on the man
Nothing more romantic than that. Oh my God. It's like I watched the two of you do it. It is such a moment.
It's fun.
Patti, when you come in and brilliant the sky, you go up high like that, is that something you and Bruce rehearse a lot, or does that just sort of happen naturally?
I don't rehearse it too much. Patty just hears it. She hears a part above mine, and bang, she goes to
We
it.
work it out and say, oh, is this okay? Is that okay?
How old were you when you realized that you could sing, that you could be a professional singer?
Well, I wouldn't be as egocentric to go, oh, I know I can sing, but my brother, my older brother played guitar, and we had this little reel-to-reel, and we recorded the Sonny and Cher song, I've Got You, Babe, and I sang the Cher part. And I listened back, and I go, I love doing this. And it sounded okay.
Oh, Bruce.
It sounded okay.
Bruce is doing his thing, and then you double his voice and come up, and it's just
It's nice,
it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Let me say hi to Garry on bass. Are you glad you're not playing tuba today, or are you upset about it?
I am so happy I can't even tell you.
You brought a tuba with you in case Bruce called for it, but we're not doing tuba today.
There was a rumor.
Yeah. When do you realize, hey, forget the tuba, I'm going to play the bass? You must have been a very young man when you did that.
I was very young, yes.
Yeah. And you've been with the band how long now?
I've lost track.
Wow.
Garry is the oldest serving member in the E Street Band. Goes back to 1971, I think.
Garry, did you know when you joined that it would last this long? Did you have a premonition, or did you think this is maybe going to last a year?
I had never gave it a thought.
What was it? I always want to ask you this. What was it like? Because you've said it. You feel Bruce did not like you when he first met you.
I love that.
And you say, well, did you just keep after him and say, I don't care if this guy doesn't like me, I'm joining the band?
No, it wasn't like that. There was a time when he first came to Asbury Park where he thought I was dissing him.
Oh.
And I really wasn't. I was there with Danny Federici, who I was trying to start a band, trying to get Danny to join the band, and he decided that he would go with Bruce instead. And I told him, go ahead. That's good idea.
Danny was dissing me too, but he got in the band. I don't know how that happened.
When did you get over your dislike of Garry? And
I never. First of
have?
all, I never disliked Garry. From my side of it.
Oh, I thought you were going that you never got over disliking Garry. It's just you put up with him.
No, Garry was in a band called Speed Limit 25, right, Garry?
Right.
Yeah, and they were extremely popular on the shore at that time. They were a big name band, So Garry was a prestigious player, So I've been lucky enough to have him in the band for, I don't know, 55 years.
And Roy, you too. I mean, how long you been in the band?
50 years.
50 years.
50
What gig
years,
lasts 50
half
years?
a century for us.
Half a century. That's the next year. That's how long we've been together. We've been together for half a century.
Unbelievable. If I played a game show, who would win in a quiz show about Bruce? Would it be you or would it be Garry? Because, you guys know him best, right? That's it.
I think Garry is a good choice there for a game show.
Was Bruce very clean when you guys used to tour on the bus? And because you see everything, you see every habit. Or was he a big slob on the bus? How did it go?
Well, the buses. Oh my God. Well, I would say he was a pretty clean guy all the way around.
Nice.
Now you understand.
And
You're talking to a guy who lived with Steve Van Zandt.
Why? Is that tough?
I'll tell you one thing. I'm the guy that was doing the dishes, all right?
Were you resentful when you lived with Steve? There are guys who will not clean the bathroom. They will not clean the dishes. It's a lot. It really is.
Yeah, Steve would kind of leave things as they were, and I'd pick up a little bit, but it's all right.
I was wondering, Roy, because Bruce wrote most of Born to Run on piano, and you have to play the piano parts. Was that an intimidating situation for you?
Well, I was very lucky at that particular moment in time that he had written all those songs on the piano, and I really got an opportunity to interpret and to magnify and focus them. So it was just for me a incredibly lucky moment to being at the right place at the right time.
Yeah, but he's also, Roy was an incredible player and had a very distinctive style and sound on the piano. So I had my melodies and I had my arrangements, but Roy would take them and really transform them into something that made me sound good.
Patti, what was it like for you when Bruce walks out of some room and he says, "I've written a love song for you, my darling," and he says,
I'm not sure that's happened yet.
I'm talking to...
That's coming up.
If I should fall behind.
Well, interesting. We
Yeah.
were talking about that last night.
We were, yeah.
Yeah, but I think before we got married,
Actually, he's right with this one, babe.
it was after we got
Yeah, this one and the whole Lucky Town record was really
right, Lucky Town. Really quick.
us
You wrote that quickly.
getting together, and I wrote that in 3 weeks, you know.
Does Bruce walk out, let's say after an argument, say, "Never mind the argument, I've written you a love song"? How does it go down?
I wish
mean,
I could write that quickly because, man, I'd be busting them out here and there.
Bruce, on this song, were you excited to play this for Patti and say, I'm professing my love for you, my darling?
I don't think I did that.
Patti, you're
I
laughing.
think I would drop dead.
Really? Is he not romantic that way? Because I think Bruce...
Extremely romantic, but
Yes.
not
I'm not-
verbalized through.
Vocally
Yeah, sure.
romantic so much, maybe, but we'll play a little bit. We'll play. Here's where it comes. So we'll play a little bit of this one. And
Bruce, before you play, do you want to say something to Patti about the song?
Oh,
How much
you're
you love
killing
her?
me now,
Come on, man.
man.
Come on.
I'm going to remember this. My darling, I love you dearly, and I wrote this song for you and only you, baby.
How romantic.
Here we go, boys. 1, 2, 3, 4. We said we'd walk together, baby, come what may. When that come the twilight, should we lose our way? If as we're walking, a hand should slip free, I'll wait for you. And should I fall behind, wait for me. We swore we'd travel, darling, side by side. Come on, boys. We'd help each other to stay in stride. But each lover steps forward so differently. I'll wait for you. If I should fall behind, wait for me. Now everyone dreams of a love lasting and true. Oh, but you and I know what this world can do. So let's make our steps clear, that the other may see. And I'll wait for you. Should I fall behind, wait for me. There's a beautiful river, oh, in the valley ahead. And there, 'neath the oaks bough, soon we will be wed. Should we lose each other in the shadow of the evening trees, I'll wait for you. And should I fall behind, wait for me. Darling, I'll wait for you. Should I fall behind, wait for me. Darling, I'll wait for you. And should I fall behind, wait for me. go. That's for you and only you.
You're shy about being romantic. You can say it to her in a song, but you can't. It's hard for you to verbalize it, isn't it?
But that's how I said a lot of things. I mean, that's why I started to write. I started to write because I was kind of shy and introverted. I probably still am, you know. So I needed to express myself through music, and that's, you know, if you could say these things, you probably wouldn't have written them.
Right.
You know, so that's kind of the connection. Yeah,
But
babe.
you're super romantic.
Oh, thank you.
What is the most romantic thing the boss
You're
has
killing,
done?
you're killing me.
What would you say, Patti, when you think about him at home, and he did something that you just say, you know, I'll never forget how romantic Bruce was in this moment?
No, because we kind of.
Pretty good with the flowers and.
But you didn't
you're
grow the
always very
flowers
kind.
yourself. I mean, let's be honest.
I picked them myself
You
sometimes.
did?
That's what I love.
Yes, I do.
If
Oh.
they're picked, in my garden back there.
Bruce, what do you mean when you're in
concert?
concert? But what does Bruce mean when you're in concert? You say, no one goes home until Max Weinberg goes home. What does that even mean?
Because Max Weinberg is the hardest working drummer in show business.
He's a
in my
phenomenal
opinion.
drummer.
I mean, no. Max, how old are you, man?
A little younger than you.
Max,
I'm
how old are
73.
you?
You're the young kid in the band, aren't you, Max?
I think Nils is a month younger than me. At 73.
73.
All right, so
73?
I mean, he's doing something. First of all, it could kill him. You know.
Well,
So you
literally,
gotta-
you're not joking, right,
no,
Max?
you gotta give him. You gotta give him a gold star for pure balls and bravery every
Toughing
night.
it out.
Second of all, the guys stop a little bit in between songs. Max Weinberg does not. Max Weinberg plays from the minute we get on stage for 3 solid hours, pedal to the metal until we get off, and he's doing things that are. If you watch this film, Road Diver, he's doing things in it that are simply incredible.
And
you
he
know?
puts his hands in ice after the show because they hurt so much after drumming for 3 hours. Is that true, Max?
Yes.
It is. Wow. Sounds awful. Bruce, that's dedication.
Yes, it is.
It really is.
Man, there is no more dedicated than Max Weinberg, man, covers your ass 24/7, 365 days.
Max, who is the great, besides yourself, take yourself out of the running, who is the greatest drummer that ever lived?
Buddy Rich.
Buddy Rich.
Buddy Rich overall. And
Right.
then there's any drummer you can name by name.
John Bonham.
Oh,
We love
John
him.
Bonham.
Yes.
Always at the top of everybody's list.
Right. Keith Moon.
Neil Peart. Ringo, of course. Levon
Ringo is
Helm,
great.
Charlie Watts. Keith Moon.
Keith Moon.
Yeah. Although I didn't play like him at all, thankfully, because I'm in the E Street Band. Ginger Baker, just
Fabulous. Ginger Baker from Cream.
Yeah.
And who is the better guitar player, Bruce Springsteen or Conan O'Brien? What do you think about it? We need to know.
Bruce Springsteen.
Bruce Springsteen. I would say
pretty
so.
good.
Yeah, I could say so. Listen, I don't want to keep you guys. Well, there's a couple of songs I would beg.
Come on,
Even,
man.
You're okay with this? Am
Hell
I doing it right?
yeah.
You said earlier in this interview
That's
that you
why
do
we're
not
here.
know. You do not know what a 10th Avenue freeze out is.
I don't have a clue.
You don't have a clue.
I just made it up.
You made it up.
But it ended up being a great story about the band. I know that. It's about
Yes.
sort of the band kind of, to me, it's the story of the band getting together and me trying to get that going. And are you ready, boys? Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sounds good. All right. Eardrops on the city bed, Scooter searching for his groove. gentlemen.
It's still so much fun, isn't it? It's still
Hell
fun.
yeah.
Wow. I mean, I feel like I'm sitting in a living room watching you guys play, and this is really good. Are you available for birthday parties and things? It's just so
Why
good.
not?
It's fun, though, right at the end of the day.
Hell yeah.
It's the greatest profession ever.
Absolutely, man.
Thank God you picked up the guitar when you saw Elvis. It's unreal. I still don't understand why the Ramones turned down Hungry Heart.
Well, they didn't really. I never gave it to them because I saw the band. I had a lot of fun, talked to them backstage. And then I said, maybe I'll write a song for the Ramones. I went home, middle of the night, took about 20 minutes. It was done. Played it for John. John said, keep it for yourself.
Were you insulted
That's
when
good management for you, damn it.
when Johnny Ramone or John Landau said keep it for yourself?
John Landau.
Oh, I thought it
Mr.
was
Landau.
I thought it was Johnny Ramone said, "Oh, Bruce, keep it for
Keep
yourself."
a damn thing for yourself.
Yeah, what the hell is that? Maybe that's the secret for you to start writing quick songs. Write them for other people.
I know. This thing was our first actual hit. It was the first time we became a date night band suddenly, where women started to come to the show. And
Right.
are you ready, Howard?
Patti, why do you make a face when Bruce says women started coming to the
Because,
show?
before you had a really huge male audience.
I did.
And certainly that was part of it. But after Born USA, because you used to say to Jackson Brown
got
all the
it.
time that he always had the women
Yeah,
at the
Jackson
concert,
Brown
but
and I
you
had all the
didn't.
good-looking girls. You know, I had all the guys, man. The guys all came to see us.
Not bad, but
But
Some
Hungry,
homoerotic undercurrent in our music. That was all there was to it.
Hungry Heart changed that. Suddenly it wasn't homoerotic. You had women showing up.
We had some women show up at the show, yeah.
We hear a little of that?
Of course.
All right.
Whoa, hey, hey.
Wow. What a great song. What a huge hit, too. Charlie, nice job. That's Charlie Giordano over on the organ. What is that?
Thank you.
Very nice job.
Damn straight.
And I should also mention that, who have I left out of this discussion? Susie? Susie, hi. So, Susie, you play violin and guitar, right?
Yes, and I sing.
And you sing. God, everybody's so damn talented in this room. I suck. It's just really disappointing.
Lisa and I,
Yes.
we were busking in New York in our 20s on the street.
Really?
Yeah.
You mean you would go out on the
Oh,
street and you'd what?
The
You
three
open
of
up the
us.
guitar case and
Yep.
I mean, you guys have known each other for how long?
Since we were what, Suze? We met at Dr. Generoff.
Just about 50.
Yeah, a long time.
Susie, were you a
1977.
child prodigy? You were. Okay, yeah. Like you could play the violin from birth. Is that the Bruce? Violin is the hardest instrument in the world to
Oh
play.
man, I can't touch it, and I've tried a few times.
You have?
It's just impossible. Yeah, that one and the accordion is like rubbing your head and rubbing your belly at the same time.
Too difficult, the violin. And I want to mention Anthony Almonte on percussion over there. Very nice. Very nice. I love those bongos, man. I'm thinking of taking that up myself. I love it so much. I know I don't have much more time, and especially with you, Patti.
Howard, I have one
Yeah.
song I want to play before we stop.
Oh, no. Listen, we have at least 50 more songs to have.
Oh, we do? Oh, sure,
No,
fine. Let's
go,
take our
what song do you
time,
want
man.
to play?
All right, Kevin, Long Walk On.
Why do you want to play this?
All right.
Because you love Patti.
Well, that's one damn right.
Right. Yeah.
But also, it speaks to the bizarre moment we're in. And so this is kind of, I wouldn't call it topical, but last verse is one of my best verses that I've ever written about the state of the country. And so this is a little prayer for a week from now. Because I like a president who wants to uphold the Constitution, protect democracy, believes in the rule of law, peaceful transfer of power. Let's hope it ain't gonna be a long walk home. Last night I stood at your doorstep, trying to figure out what went wrong. You just slipped something in to my palm, then you were gone. I could smell the same deep green of summer. Above me the same night sky was glowing. In the distance I could see the town where I was born. Yeah, it's gonna be a long walk home. Hey, pretty darling, don't wait up for me. It's gonna be a long walk home. Well, in town I passed Sal's grocery, the barber shop on South Street. I looked into their faces, they were all rank strangers to me. Well, a veterans hall high up on the hill stood silent and alone. The diner was shuttered and boarded with a sign that just said gone. Yeah, it's gonna be a long walk home. Hey, pretty darling, don't wait up for me. It's gonna be a long walk home. Hey, pretty darling, don't wait up for me. It's gonna be a long walk home. It's gonna be a long walk home. Here everybody has a neighbor, everybody has a friend, everybody has a reason to begin again. My father said, son, we're lucky in this town. It's a beautiful place to be born. It just wraps its arms around you. Nobody crowds you, nobody goes it alone. You know that flag flying over the courthouse? It means certain things are set in stone. Who we are, what we'll do and what we won't. It's gonna be a long walk home. Hey, pretty darling, don't wait up for me. Gonna be a long walk home. Hey, pretty darling, don't wait up for me. Gonna be a long walk home. It's gonna be a long walk home. Oh, it's gonna be a long walk home. Thanks, Howard.
What a beautiful song. And I agree. I think we have something really special in this country.
Oh,
something
yeah.
worth protecting.
Absolutely.
And I hope people don't forget about it.
Yeah, so do I. So
Yeah,
do I.
yeah.
God bless. God help us all.
God help us all is right. I mean that. This has been such a special morning. I was thinking, how lucky am I to have this band, to have you guys here, the professionalism and the feeling that you guys bring out. It's just too much, and I don't
Thanks,
know.
Howard.
You're too much, man. You make me feel.
That's great, man. We had a great time.
No, I
Great
really
time.
love
Thank
you for this.
Thank you.
The last time you were on the show, my wife begged me to tell this story. Bruce, I've never told this. Bruce said, hey, we're going to get together. Bruce and I got together. He came over to my house for dinner. I don't know what's going on at my house, but Bruce rang the doorbell and was standing outside. I walk by. I see Bruce Springsteen's outside my house. Bruce, how long you been standing there? He goes, oh, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. I go, what the fuck is wrong with me? We didn't know he was there. And I felt so bad. I said, well, he's never coming back again. But it was just crazy. I was like, what's going on in my head? The doorbell doesn't ring. I don't know, man.
I thought I was at the wrong house, man. I was just waiting.
I just wanted to humble you. Patti said to me, bring him down a couple of notches. And so I did. Can we end the morning on Glory Days?
No,
What do you think?
man.
Is that the right song? I mean, you've done 100 songs.
If you want to go there, we can go there.
Glory Days is a beautiful song off of Born in the USA. You wrote it in 1984. Anything come to mind when you think of this song?
Yankees, Dodgers, man.
That's it.
What's coming to mind. Central
Okay.
Jersey, Yankees and Giants fans.
Right.
Come
okay.
on.
Here it is.
All right, boys. 1, 2, 3. Woo! Well, I had a friend was a big baseball player back in high school. He could throw that spitball by you, make you look like a fool, boy. Saw him the other night at this roadside bar. I was walking in, he was walking out. We went back inside, sat down, had a few drinks, but all he kept talking about was glory days. Well, pass me by, glory days. In a wink of a young girl's eye, glory days, glory days. Well, the girl, she lives up the block. Back in school, she could turn all the boys' heads. Well, sometimes on a Friday, I'd stop by and have a few drinks with her after she put her kids to bed. Her and her husband, Bobby, they split up, I guess it's 2 years gone by now. We just sit around talking about the old times. She says when she feel like crying, she start laughing, thinking about glory days. Well, pass you by, glory days. In the wink of a young girl's eye, glory days, glory days. All right, band, let's rock this thing. Woo! Think I'm going down to the well tonight. I'm gonna drink until I get my fill. I hope when I get old I don't sit around thinking about it, but I know that I will. Yeah, just sitting back, trying to recapture, well,
Patti gets such a kick out of you. Like, it is the greatest. I can't wait for people to watch this on the app. It is so great. And that dude, in the guy you're singing about in Glory Days, it's sort of sad in a sense. I mean, the guy's best years were when he was playing baseball back in the day.
That's right.
Do you think about people like that a lot? Like, people who peaked a little too early in life?
Well, it's timing has a lot to do with it. I mean, I'm glad I came along when I did because I think it'd be tough coming up now for young bands and stuff. So yeah, timing in your life's important.
What a horror to have to come up now if you were just starting
It's
out.
tough. Very tough. I'm glad I'm an old man where I am.
Patti, first of all, thank you for being here today. It's so great to see you guys, together. It's just really exciting. To the band, because the new documentary celebrates the band. Is there a song that causes nightmares for you guys when Bruce calls out for a concert and says, we're playing this? Is there one song where you all go, Max, what is it?
Well, I don't know if it causes nightmares, but I still have to count to myself in Rosalita at certain times, 50 years later. And, it used to cause nightmares.
What is the count? In other words, are there a lot of 16th notes? Is there a lot of one-anders and a two-anders and that kind of stuff?
There's so many two-anders and three-anders and four-anders and five.
And there's a lot of nonsense going on while we're playing also. So
it's wildosity is what it is.
Because, one of the things in the documentary is the set list. Your fans are so consumed with what the set list is and what the set list is going to be. And I'm glad you addressed that in the documentary.
We do.
It really is great.
We do.
Listen, I love you guys for being here.
Hey, we had a great time, man.
I can't tell you how special this is. I know my audience is going to be going wild for this.
Great.
I've been like a fly on the wall this morning.
Yes. It is so much fun, Robin.
Fantastic.
I mean,
so good.
Would you say this interview this morning stands out even above the Super Bowl? No, but in all seriousness, is there
best thing that maybe's ever happened? Goddammit!
Is there a moment in your career that stands out above all? Personal life. I'm talking about career now.
I'm going to go immediately. Our concert at See Here Now in Asbury Park was huge for us and for the town. It was just historical for us and for the town. It immediately went to my top 4 or 5 gigs of all time. So that really stands out for me.
What did they mean in the documentary when the band is saying, Bruce gives us physical cues on stage? They know how to read your shoulder movements and
everything. Legs, shoulders, arms, ass, they watch it all, man.
I mean, you finally get the attention you crave. This band, they can read your every move.
That's right. They have to watch me the whole damn show.
By the way, let's point out the fact, Paul McCartney, the great Paul McCartney, blames this man, Bruce Springsteen, for the 3-hour shows. He says you've ruined it for everyone.
Well, we did start that, so I gotta take credit or not for where it's deserved. But the hell, for goddamn money, people are paying to deserve at least 3 damn hours. Yeah.
Well, it's beautiful. Thank you for being so wonderful.
Our pleasure.
And thanks for the great music. Thank you for being here this morning. Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band.
Woo!
Road Diary.
Yes,
premiering this Friday on Hulu. Hear Bruce and the E Street Band on Sirius XM E Street Radio, Channel 20. And just thank you. That's it.
Thanks, Howard.
All right.
Thank you. See you again.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. Thank you.